Just ahead on CTV News.
New plans coming down from the Prince George's County Board of Education. I'll have that story coming up on CTV News.
And advocates and lawmakers rallied together to stop the spread of DIY machine guns.
Some manufacturers are selling handguns that can be turned into fully automatic weapons with a tiny switch the size of a quarter.
Plus,
a new piece of legislation called the PATH Act is looking to close a critical gap in the criminal justice system when it comes to survivors of domestic violence. I'll bring you those details coming up.
These stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for February 5th. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Thanks so much for joining us.
Prince George's County students returned to the classroom this week after missing a week of instruction because of the icy road conditions.
And that lost time has to be made up at the end of the school year. CTV's Brandon Williams joins us in studio with more on the latest.
The start of the second half of the school year has gotten off to an icy start after Winter Storm Fern wreaked havoc on the DMV region. Students have missed 7 days of school but finally returned to the classroom on February 4th. Last night, Prince George's County Board of Education held an emergency virtual meeting to discuss updates on the school calendar for the rest of the school year and a virtual learning plan. To meet the state requirement for instructional time, the Board of Education will use all 5 of its built-in makeup days, which include March 20th, May 27th, June 15th through 17th, and June 18th. The board is also considering April 6th as another potential makeup date. Several parents expressed their frustration with not having virtual learning as an option.
3, implement predictable transitions to virtual learning. Implement virtual learning beginning on the second consecutive snow day, providing continuity while limiting extended instructional disruption. Ensure students are able to meet virtually with their peers and teachers, if not in person.
As our current snow ice storm unfolded last week, I spent a lot of time wondering why we were not moving to virtual learning, given all the experience we had gained during the COVID pandemic. My daughters were in kindergarten and 4th grade in March 2020. So I know that every middle and high school student in the nation, along with teachers, administrators, and parents, has a lived experience to call on. I remember what we were all capable of, including our youngest children who learned and adapted at record speed. We emerged from that terrible time with an invaluable tool, one that we can now use to both safeguard and educate our children through extreme weather, new public health emergencies, and even political instability.
The school district is prepared to submit a waiver to the State Board of Education for the remaining days once the application window is open. That virtual learning plan parents raised questions about for students is set to be released on Friday, February 6th at PGCPS.org. Back to you at the desk.
All right, thanks, Brandon, for that story. The county also took to social media today announcing that all after-school activities have resumed for the rest of the week.
A juvenile curfew will go into effect for Friday and Saturday nights at the National Harbor, starting tomorrow. Between 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., minors must be accompanied by a parent or guardian or someone over the age of 21. Some exceptions include unaccompanied minors on the sidewalk of where they live or the next door neighbor's residence. Also, if they are returning home from a school activity, religious activity, or from their job. Parents, guardians, or businesses who don't comply can face fines up to $250.
Maryland House Bill 117, also known as the Bowen-Levy Airway Clearing Device Act, is a legislative proposal designed to increase safety in public schools by requiring medical tools to be in place in case someone is choking. Every county's Board of Education must establish a policy requiring each public school to obtain at least one airway clearing device. The bill grants school nurses and other school personnel the authority to use these devices on anyone who is choking. And if passed, this act will be scheduled to take effect on July 1st of this year.
And gun safety advocates gathered on Lawyers Mall this morning.
The group is backing a bill they feel will help curb the spread of DIY machine guns on Maryland streets. CTV's Katara Jones has the latest.
With one illegal part installed, A pistol can fire at the rate of up to 1,200 rounds per minute.
Maryland moms demand action, and students demand action are pushing state lawmakers to pass House Bill 577 and Senate Bill 334. The bill would prohibit a person from manufacturing, selling, purchasing, receiving, or transferring a machine gun convertible pistol by January 1st of 2027. Supporters say the bill would essentially require gun manufacturers to meet safety standards so that their products don't get converted into illegal weapons.
It is time to protect Marylanders, to protect our law enforcement, and make sure that these manufacturers, and it's not just the one with the G, there are other ones that do it, that they abide by common sense design regulations.
Although here in Maryland, machine guns are illegal, state lawmakers say semi-automatic pistols can be converted into DIY machine guns using what is called a switch. That tool can cost about $25.
Today we're going to say that enough is enough. We are going to stop these tools from being out on our street, harming our communities, harming our children.
The Senate version of the bill was heard during the Senate's Judicial Proceedings Committee this afternoon. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And a hearing on the House version of the bill is set for February 11th at 2 p.m.
And State Senator Shanika Henson is leading a fight for domestic violence survivors today, announcing the PATH Act ahead of a key House hearing.
The bill would require courts to consider domestic violence during sentencing. Our Michaela Newton is in Annapolis with more on this story.
Senate Bill 138, known as the PATH Act, is in the beginning stages of making its way through the Senate.
It is a path to making sure that survivors of domestic violence are met with an appropriate response from our criminal legal system.
The bill is sponsored by Senator Shanika Henson. Today, during a press conference, Henson was joined by a group of domestic violence advocates, including Dr. Mildred Muhammad, former spouse of the D.C. sniper.
My case is literally open. I was just there to testify during the sentencing phase and not the phase where the jury was able to hear me.
What the PATH Act does is it gives the opportunity for the missing evidence that doesn't come in at the criminal sentencing phase of most cases to be introduced into evidence and considered by our courts when survivors of domestic violence find themselves in the criminal legal system.
In some cases, it would allow the court to go back and look at old sentences that were given to survivors if their history of abuse was ignored the first time. And it seeks to ensure survivors of domestic violence are treated more fairly. So far, the group says they have not received any letters of opposition on the legislation.
This bill is an accountability bill. It's about right-sizing accountability.
It would have allowed the judge to include domestic abuse instead of calling it insufficient evidence. It was because of that that I believe my case was not brought to justice.
An identical version of that legislation, House Bill 84, had its hearing today at 1 p.m. But again, the PATH Act is in its very early stages, so we'll keep you updated on air and online. In Annapolis, I'm Michaela Newton, CTV News.
Michaela, thank you so much for that report. If passed, the act is set to take effect on October 1st of 2026.
Congressman Glenn Ivey is demanding answers after the two deadly federal shootings in Minneapolis. Ivey is leading more than 50 House lawmakers in a letter pressing the Justice Department, Homeland Security, and the FBI to fully cooperate with state and local prosecutors investigating the deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. They are calling for the immediate release of video, witness interviews, and forensic evidence. This comes after there was controversy over some federal officials making early claims about the incidents. They are giving federal agencies 48 hours to confirm they preserved all evidence as Minnesota investigators continue their review. You're watching CTV News. I'm Jonathan Hunter.
And I'm Anaya Falcon. Coming up,
Tarina Spry never made it to her 50th birthday, but her family is making sure others are feeling cared for in their toughest moments. Coming up on CTV News, how this growing effort of compassion is touching lives across Prince George's County.
We are mercy on a mission. Together we bring hope and healing.
When you see the changes in people's lives, these are the things that makes your life really worthwhile.
Shared our laughter, held our tears, built a bond that outlasts years.
Even though I know we are here for work, sometimes it doesn't feel like it because it's just people you love.
This experience is definitely staying with me for as long as I have memory.
The bonds we formed forever, they last.
To see how you can change lives, visit mercyships.org today.
Welcome back. County police are investigating a fatal shooting in Landover last night. This happened at the Maple Ridge Apartments on Bright Seat Road. According to the investigation, the victim, identified as 48-year-old Curtis Thornton Jr., was shot inside the complex stairwell. Officers arrived around 7 and found him suffering from trauma. He was later pronounced dead on the scene. Anyone with any information on this case is asked to call police at 301-516-2512.
Prince George's County State's Attorney Tara Jackson announced yesterday that 25-year-old Corey Klingman has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for her involvement in a deadly crash that claimed the lives of 3 of her high school friends. In July of 2024, Klingman and the victims, 24-year-old Kyrie Jackson, 23-year-old Isaiah Hazel, and 24-year-old Anthony Litton Jr. were out driving well over 100 miles per hour on Maryland Route 4, also known as Pennsylvania Avenue. Although reports indicate that both cars were driving at dangerous speeds, the investigation revealed that Klingman's reckless and impaired driving caused the incident that led to the crash.
I really just want to take this opportunity to highlight how dangerous speed and alcohol are. To have to watch parents grieve, siblings grieve, cousins grieve, it's sad. It's sad to have to hear a father talk about how he he is no longer able to challenge his son anymore because his son is not here. And not because of a choice that his son made, but because of a choice that someone else made. It's sad.
Once Klingman is released from jail, she will have to serve 3 years probation and complete 80 hours of community service. A Prince George's County family is turning loss into love on what would have been their loved one's 50th birthday.
That's right. They're giving back to the Lanham Hospital that cared for her during her cancer battle. CTV's Noel Jones, or James, is in the Lanham with more.
50 bags, one for each year Tyrena Spry would have lived, and then a welcome surprise from the community. What started as a small family tribute has turned into something much bigger. These are chemo comfy bags, soft blankets, fuzzy socks, journals, snacks, the little things that make long hours in a chemo chair feel just a bit more bearable. And today they're being donated in honor of Tyrena Spry, who never got to see her 50th birthday.
My aunt was treated here with so much care and love, and she loved the doctors here, she loved the nurses here. She was a big family person, so we know that she would be celebrating with us.
Spry died in 2012 after a battle with cancer. 14 years later, her family brought 50 bags, one for every birthday she would have celebrated. But when a local Girl Scouts troop heard the story,
we want to do 50 bags, and I said, 50? Oh, we can do better than that. So we tried to match the 50. We asked for donations from our service units, and we were able to make 63 bags.
That's right, 113 bags total for each patient in chemo.
Helping people is not a lot to do, and it goes for a long way. We promise every year and renew that promise to help our country and serve God.
And for the staff at Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center, it was more than a donation.
Very personal to me. I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer,
in early 23 and underwent almost 2 years of treatment, including multiple rounds of chemo. One of the things that kept me going and kept me motivated were the exact things that this family, the Spry family, has included in these comfy chemo bags, as they're calling them.
It's a powerful reminder that she believed she could, and so she did, one comfy bag at a time. In Lanham, I'm Noel James for CTV News.
Well, a new initiative to spotlight local culinary in the community kicked off today. The Executive Exchange Expo is a monthly event that will showcase local talent from different industries in the country, giving people an opportunity to connect with related industries and county agencies. This initiative was launched through the Prince George's County Executive Aisha Braveboy's Office of Strategic Partnerships. A local business owner of a raw honey and loose tea company says the Executive Exchange Expo was beneficial in more ways than one.
Didn't even expect or plan to be here, but when we get here, I'm now seeing all the opportunity, not just for ourselves, but for everyone else. I'm really enjoying it because I can tell this business is going to put a lot of eyes on a lot of people who usually don't get that opportunity to be seen, because maybe they don't have the reach or they don't have the connections. But like I said, just having the opportunity to be here and seeing that the county executives and the people are actually interested in talking with us, seeing with us, actually trying our stuff, it means a lot to us. And, it's nice to see that our community is going to start to go off of this.
And he says if given the opportunity, he'd want to be a part of this event over and over again. And do you feel like an emergency expense like a hospital visit or a pricey car repair could set you back financially? Well, in the words of MJ, you are not alone. A new Bankrate survey says around half of Americans have less emergency savings than they have in credit card debt. 44% of respondents said they have more emergency funds than credit card debt, while 29% say that they have more debt than savings. 19% say they have neither savings or debts. Experts suggest that if you receive a tax refund this year, use the funds to jumpstart your savings.
Governor Wes Moore is not only growing popular in Maryland, but also in the nation. According to a new poll from the Morning Consult, his approval rating rose to 61% in the last quarter of 2025. Out of all 50 governors in the country, he now comes in at number 8. Moore is now the 5th most popular Democratic governor. Moore's campaign advisor believes the popularity is due to the state's record low crime rates, increased job opportunities, and investments in the private sector.
And how do you feel about our state flag? Most Marylanders love it, but it seems Governor Moore may feel a little differently. During a podcast discussion on the press box last week, Moore called the flag a contradiction. He said it is, quote, literally a Confederate symbol mixed with a Union symbol. This has led many to speculate if Moore is thinking about drafting legislation to change it. Republican lawmakers believe the governor's statements are aimed for national attention. And still to come on CTV News, we have a special Black History Month spotlight.
That's right. After the break, check out my exclusive interview with a high school student making moves from the classroom to the Capitol.
We see champions everywhere we look. In every sport, on every court, we're building a foundation to ensure all athletes are safe, supported, and strengthened. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we're shifting sport culture because every athlete deserves to compete free from abuse.
An event in Hyattsville honored the contributions of African Americans to U.S. history today in a fun and entertaining way. The Black History in Motion event at Prince George's Public Playhouse offered several musical performances and a special performance by the Exclusives. The band performed the greatest hits from the 60s to today. One of the event attendees says this event piqued her interest.
I'm music inclined because I've been music inclined since I've been a child. And I sing gospel music. And it's not about singing to you, but giving God glory, honor, and praise. And that's why I'm here.
And the Black History in Motion event was presented by the Prince George's County Department of Parks and Recreation.
As we continue to celebrate and honor Black History Month, we're highlighting people in the community that are doing remarkable things. Today's story, we want to shine the light on a Crossland High School senior who is making an incredible impact in and out of the classroom. When you travel to Crossland High School, you may run into Amari Barnes. The 18-year-old is quite active. He's the student member of the State Board of Education. He also founded a nonprofit called Barnes and Scott Youth at Law. The organization teaches youth about the legal system. I asked him what motivates him.
For me, it is just the feeling of impacting people in a meaningful way. Just being able to go to sleep at night and know that today I inspired someone to do something.
Omari was also one of 2 students from the state of Maryland to be selected to serve as a Maryland delegate for the U.S. Senate Youth Program in March. There, he'll have the opportunity to meet with federal leaders and learn more about how our government operates.
I'll have the opportunity to participate. There's also an accompanying $10,000 scholarship as a part of the program that, of course, I'm really excited for as a senior who's looking for scholarships, and college is right around the corner for me.
And while Omari has had a lot of success, things weren't always easy growing up. His mom had him when she was just 16. Omari and his 2 sisters almost ended up in foster care. But his great-grandmother, Elizabeth Barnes, told the judge that wasn't happening.
Omari, for the most part, had lived here most of his life anyway. So I said, no, I'll take them. And he said, all 3 of them? And lo and behold, I said yes.
And while their finances were tight, Elizabeth did her part to make sure Omari got to the library so he could foster a love for reading. She noticed as a young boy, there was something different about him.
I would take him to the children's section and I would say, you pick out what you want to read. And he would always get these books, and he would finish the books before I was, within the week. He was an avid reader.
With Omari being driven, he has always relied on the advice of his mentors, such as Dayon McLaurin Johnson. The 2 met at a conference in 2021, and since then, they have gained a deeper bond. Johnson has always been impressed with his ability to advocate for people who normally don't have a voice.
He's incredibly talented, gifted, but has a uncanny sense of understanding how policy works and how do you get legislators to move specific initiatives.
With Omari being so active, Johnson has challenged him to know when to also focus on his mental health.
How are you going to decompress? How are you going to, take the time to take care of yourself? And so I hope that that's one thing that I've been able to teach him.
As he prepares to participate in the U.S. Senate Youth Program, State Board of Education President Dr. Joshua Michael is honored Omari will be representing the state of Maryland on a national level.
His values are one that we share in Maryland, that of taking care of other people, of working exceptionally hard, and of really valuing everyone's voice at the table. I know he's going to be an amazing representative for us.
And Omari is hoping to inspire others to let them know no matter what obstacles you're facing, you can overcome them.
When they see a peer doing it, it helps. That matters. To just know that, no matter where you started, ultimately you determine where you finish.
I love that soundbite right there. And once Omari graduates from high school, he wants to study political science or public policy in college. He ultimately wants to go to law school to study constitutional law, and I have no doubt in my mind he will be a successful lawyer.
Wow, that was such a great story, Jonathan. Really filled me up there. I know he had such an in-depth story, so you must have had some interesting facts that you couldn't put in there. Am I right?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this guy is doing so much. He had a lot of internships, and at one point he was the SGA president of his high school, but He was doing so much, he actually had to put that to the back seat because he was just doing so much.
Yeah, that makes sense. And now, did this story inspire you? It inspired me, I have to say.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm always pleased to see young individuals working to make change. I mean, he's 18 years old and really wants to make a difference in the community. And I think he was, 14 years old when he started the nonprofit. So at a young age, he says, you know what, I don't want to wait till I graduate from college. I want to start making a change in the community right now.
Right now, that's the best thing to do. All right, don't move, sports fans. Simon Buggs has our Thursday sports page.
That's right, and I hear a 10-time All-Star is making its way to my Washington Wizards. I am looking forward to this sports page. What is going on, Simon?
Stay tuned for your Thursday sports page, everyone, as the Washington Wizards make a huge move ahead of the NBA trade deadline. Find out who the newest member of the team is after the break.
I'm Tony Goldwyn. As an actor and a director, I attend a lot of screenings, but there's one that's different. It's important, and it could save your life. A lung cancer screening. You know, I lost my mom to lung cancer when she was just 68 years old. That's Jennifer. Screenings help diagnose lung cancer early when it's most treatable, even curable. A quick, low-dose CT scan is all it takes. Go-to for lung cancer is your go-to. Visit goto.org.
What's going on, sports fans? It's time for your favorite segment. Now, lacrosse fans, listen up because this first story is for you, as the Lady Terps lacrosse squad's first game of the season is just 1 day away. Maryland will take a trip to New York to face off against Syracuse for their first game of the season. Now, these two teams have some history, as Maryland took on the Orange last season for their first game of the year and ended up losing the matchup 15-9. I talked to last year's Big Ten Midfielder of the Year and Corey Edmondson recently, and she feels good about the team's chances of taking down Syracuse this time around.
I think if you look at that game, majority of our starters were freshmen. So now we've gained 2 transfers, Keeley and Kristen, and we've gained another year for those freshmen. And we also have freshmen coming in this year who are going to play. So I think we just have experience, a lot more experience, and we're comfortable going in. We know what they're going to do. We've scouted. We've done everything that we need to do to prepare. So at this point, it's just in our hands to go do what our coaches have given us and execute the game plan.
The game takes place tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And some surprising news out of the NBA as the Washington Wizards made a blockbuster trade yesterday. Washington traded Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for big man Anthony Davis as well as D'Angelo Russell, Jaden Hardy, and Dante Exum. Now the big name here is Anthony Davis. When Davis is healthy, he's one of the best players in the league, making a huge impact on both ends of the floor. And pairing him with guard Trae Young, who Washington traded for last month, and the young core the team already has, this team definitely seems like it's on the rise. The Wizards might be back, y'all. This does seem like a team that can make some noise in the East. We'll see. Meantime, we are just 3 days away from the Super Bowl, NFL fans. The New England Patriots and Seattle Seahawks will take the field for the chance to compete for the Lombardi Trophy. One of the reasons this game will be so entertaining is because New England, who's one of the league leaders in rushing the offense this past season, will face off against a team in Seattle who's one of the league's best at stopping the run. And head coach Mike Vrabel gave his thoughts on what makes Seattle such a hard team to run against.
They play with great technique. They play with great effort. They're talented, different skill sets. You may look at Murphy and he has one skill set. You look at Leonard Williams, different skill set. Both play square. They play with their hands. The edge guys set, sometimes vertical edges. Sometimes they mix in some movement. They don't get moved off the line of scrimmage, and so if you don't move the line of scrimmage, it's going to be hard to run the football.
The Super Bowl kicks off on Sunday at 6:30. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Capitals will take the ice tonight versus the Nashville Predators. The puck drops at 7 o'clock. And that is your Thursday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, it'll be mostly cloudy with winds up to 5 miles per hour.
Tomorrow will be 35 degrees, but we have a 40% chance of snow after 1 p.m. Saturday will be 23 degrees and sunny, but will be under an extreme cold watch. And you can expect some crazy wind gusts up to 46 miles per hour. And if you're heading out for the Super Bowl this Sunday, it will be 23 degrees with a low of 13. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Have a good night.